In this episode, the man I interview is the man who made the Sligo Show accidentally happen. Because Brian, behind the cameras, was out talking with this man a number of years back and said, I'd love to do a show about Sligo. Who'd present it? And this man suggested me for some reason. So tonight, you're going to have a great chat. We're going to have a great chat with Martin Duffy, known to more of you as DJ Scruffy Duffy, about his whole life, his career, and his amazing award he just won last week. I hope you enjoy. This show is in partnership with ATU Sligo Innovation Centre, the hub of innovation and commercial enterprise for startups, industry and academia.
The Sligo Show is produced by Pixel Productions and hosted by Brendan Tierney. If you need video for your business or live event or would like to appear on the show, send us a message today.
I'm joined today by none other than local legendary DJ and wedding entertainer, Mr. Martin Scruffy Duffy. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, my friend. It's great to be here. So
I'd say it's not too often I have a really good friend on now, so this is kind of a different dynamic now than normal.
Yeah.
But we had to bring you on, and we've threatened to bring you on for a long, long time. But only last week, you were awarded the Wedding Entertainer of the Year in Ireland. So how does that feel?
Well, I was surprised, to be quite honest. But yeah, very, very proud. Very proud. It's a nice feeling. As I said to someone during the week, it's nice to get recognition of a job that you've been involved with for nearly 34 years. And it was we've been going to these awards for years, right? It was like a running joke. Oh, Scruff's here again, right? And we used to turn up at the awards and we'd have the meal and we'd interact. And of course, you're there with your business cards, you were meeting and greeting. And myself and my good friend, PJ Walsh, we used to go to all these awards, And the funny thing was, right, I think, is it like a commended? Is like a commended?
Recommended or commended.
Recommended, So you're kind of saying, oh God, I don't know if I want that now, because you get it, but you don't get it. But as the meal would go on, you'd say to yourself, you know what, maybe that'd be just absolutely brilliant. I'll take that. So the funny thing is, on the night, obviously, we turned up, we had a lovely meal, we were meeting and greeting, we had some fabulous guests at our table. And of course, we came to the end of the night, and I was saying to my good friend PJ, listen, I think it's looking like we might be hitting the room early tonight for 2 cups of tea, packet of finger biscuits. And lo and behold, the awards came up. We were in a really strong card, something like 20 to 24 in our category, And it came up, and on the night, Keith Barry and Sarah Kennedy were doing the awards. And in fairness to Cahill, who does wedding suppliers, it was a fantastic show, well put on, well put together. Monday was there, Mickey Joe Hart was singing. So it was a brilliant, fun night of fun. And of course, came to the night, and that commended award, is it the commended award? And the commended award.
You were kind of going, okay, you're at the stage going, I wouldn't mind get that one now, actually.
And the commended award goes to the Victory Dolls. And I went, well, that's it, PJ. Another year here, right here.
Let's get
nothing's happening, right. So, next thing, and the winner of Wedding Entertainment of the Year is Scruffy Duffy. I was in shock. Couldn't believe it.
I can imagine.
But completely over the moon. Great feeling. Great feeling.
I've said to anyone, if you have a wedding coming up and you want an entertainer, and there's loads of great musicians, entertainers, bands, but like I've been to 4 or 5 weddings where you've been the entertainer, and it's just genuinely like nothing that you see at a wedding, like, and even anyone watching that hasn't been at your wedding, like, it's nearly worth going to someone's wedding, even if you're not invited, to see the crack, like the fun. Like, you've developed your show, and we'll kind of come back to this in a little while. But it's just a full day of fun. From once you sit down with the meal, it's fun, energy, fun.
Yeah, listen, it's. I've been quite lucky that I have written a show that just slots in between that meal, which was waiting for something or for somebody to come along all the way during the meal for a long, long time. And I just came up through trial and error off a show.
Well, you had many years doing it.
Many years of trying it through trial and error.
What was the first ever gig? Where did it all start?
Well, the funny thing is, right, that many years ago, right, in the Radisson, a manager called Fergus, who was the manager at the time, right, I was doing Christmas DJs. I was doing Christmas discos all the time. And he basically said to me, he said, listen, I'm not happy the way things are happening during the meal. If you can come up with something, right, not only will I give you the rest of the gigs this year for Christmas, I'll run you back next year. So, funny enough, I was doing gigs in pubs for many years before that, and an awful lot of the skills that I picked up were, in the pubs, interacting for student gigs, doing karaoke. I always had this thing built inside me. I just couldn't handle dead energy in a pub. It just didn't sit with me. So I was forever trying to fill it in through fun and music, through games. So unbeknown to me, I was actually writing a show all those years. And then when the opportunity came, I said, right, it's trial or error, let's give it a go. So I started off in the Radisson, 15, 16 years ago at the first gig, right?
Now, this is the first gig of the MC during the meal.
Yeah, off the MC during the meal. With, those luminous orange papers and green papers you used to buy in the art shop.
Yeah.
And I wrote on it All-Stars and Superstars. I split the room for whatever came into my head. I said, the dynamics, Irish people love to compete. And I said, I just get them to compete either side of the room. At that stage, I hadn't anything really written. And I just went in saying, okay, I'll plot this side against this side. I'll throw in a dance off. And I just really developed it from there. Right? And all the way through, and then, of course, your classic sing-along songs, your Sweet Carolines, all of those. And lo and behold, magic happened. It just worked. And it just started to flow. So then, right, I knew I had something. And then that's where the pressure came then, right? Then I had to come up. So then he said, I like what you've done. It's been amazing. He got great feedback from that year. And then he asked me to write a show for the next year. So for years then, I was doing it just only this show. I was just doing it once. I was just doing it for Christmas shows.
Okay.
And then a good friend of mine in the business, Trolley, DJ Trolley.
Yeah, another local DJ legend.
Asked me to come up for something for his wedding. He wanted his wedding to be different. And I had the show, and I said, listen, if you're prepared to be brave and trust me, I said, I will absolutely rock your wedding.
I was at that wedding, and I did not know that was the first time.
That was the first time we did the MC during the meal show.
Wow. And the rest is history.
And I was
now
very lucky,
awards.
And I was very lucky. A lady that was there that day, the wedding planner that was there that day, a lady called Anne McLaughlin. That was her name before she got married. She booked me for her wedding. She was the wedding planner of the Landmark Hotel on that particular day. And she said, whoa, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And from there, it just took off.
And I mean, the MC during the meal is your current kind of legendary moment. Yeah. But like back in the day, the Stables was a staple gig that everyone went to, the Leitrim Bar. You DJed all over the place in so many vices. What was the most fun years, or what was gigs you really loved to do, where you just like, there wasn't the big pressure, the big room?
I suppose, listen, I think it's something that's in you. It's in you. Can you teach it? I don't know, right? But I think there's something built inside you that you have to entertain. I don't know, is it an attention thing? I don't know what it is, right? Yeah.
You just come alive.
I just come alive. You give me a microphone, and it could be 10 people in a room, right? Yeah, my job, I just go into this mode, and I have to entertain. So I would have had that from a kid in school, right? I was really different in school, right? Yeah, people put names on it now, right? Yeah,
you mean as in you just felt you didn't fit in, maybe?
I just knew I was different in school, right? I always knew I had this something different. I could never put a name on it, yeah, right? So some people would say, like now they might call it dyspraxia, they might call it stuff like that. But back then, right, yeah, you were put in a corner, you were the dunce, you were something. There's always something different. I just couldn't sit in the school.
Yeah.
And ways of dealing with bullying and all stuff through school, I used to be able to make people laugh, so that used to soften the blow a little bit, yeah. Okay. So from an early age, I was developing these skills. I didn't even know what they were. And then they found out, okay, this kid has a bit of something about him. Then they put me into school plays. I remember the first school play being 12 in the town hall. Did Joseph. You did Joseph, okay. Yeah, and then I remember... Did you get the crowd going for that one? Rock the stable. I remember rocking that. And then I remember watching back then, right, watching old TV shows like Morecambe and Wise and Benny Hill and Kenny Everett. And I was lucky that my grandparents used to have the TV stations up in Donegal. Oh, so not just one or two? Yeah, so when I used to go and stay with them, I got all these old UK TV shows that I wasn't actually getting down here, right, in the south. They were getting them up around top of Donegal with my grandparents. So every time I go up unknown to me, I was getting all this information. So then I used to come back doing voices like Frank Spencer, Basil Fawlty, and all of this stuff, right? Yeah, and unknown I was developing. And then when I come back, then went into St. Anne's with my good friend. I think you interviewed him. He was a fantastic friend. He's like a brother to me, which would be Georgie Gorman. Yeah, and in St. Anne's, 15, 16 years of age. Right, I was in there. I was doing my own stuff, right? Yeah. So this was DJing, or no, this was just on stage acting or something. No, this is kind of just still finding my feet, finding where all this came from, and all of a sudden, he noticed I wasn't too good at sports, and then he said, "This kid has something." And then me and Georgie, at 16, put a play on in the Hawkswell, and in that play, that's really where I come That's where I started to come to the forefront. And I did Basil Fawlty, Frank Spencer, I sang George Michael.
Oh, so it was like a cabaret show.
Yeah,
so
okay. I MC'd. At that moment, that's where the light bulbs went off. Wow, I have found where I'm supposed to be. Did I know back then I was going to make a career out of it? No, but I did know, right, I had a love for it, and it just grew and grew. And then reality sinks in, and your parents say you got to get a job. And at that time, my dad was a chef instructor, and I used to work in the kitchens in the summer with him to make a few quid. And he decided, he was a chef instructor here in Sligo, and he thought it would be a better idea I would go to Donegal to Killybegs and not him teach me, father-son thing.
Yeah.
I think in later years he probably thought maybe he should have taught me in. Killybegs was an eye-opener. I went in there to college, not really much kind of academic, but this big bundle of energy, big bundle of fun. And in I went there, and sure now it was the ultimate place for showing off. Okay. And I just said, this is great. So I did probably more showing off than maybe studying. I did plays up there and stuff like that. But I managed somehow, very, very luckily, to come out with a college degree in chefing. So I managed in over 2 years to come out and qualify.
So this is people when they're watching up at the stage, whether it's wedding, they're like, this guy's actually a fully trained chef as well.
I am a qualified, fully qualified chef.
And if anyone goes to your house for a bit of grub, you watch him work the pan. I never seen anyone. I think you still think you're in the kitchen.
So I managed. And then from there, went to Ballina, right, and worked in the Downhill Hotel, right. Still had loads of bundle of energy.
This is DJ or chefing at this point.
This was after chefing. This is after chefing. Went there, and then I was out in the big world, right. You're qualified as chef, and my first serious job as a chef was in a Downhill Hotel. Left there, went to Tullio's Restaurant Ballina, and then I was so lucky because at the time Ballina, right, was one of the hottest spots in Ireland for DJs. For nightlife, it was streets and years ahead of anything else in the country. And I just happened to be, talk about timing. So before I had gone to Ballina, I did my first DJ gig through a good friend of mine, Andy McNabb, got me to do something in a place called Le Cordon. Anybody ever knows it? And he set me down there with a couple of records, a microphone on one deck, and I managed to...
So did you say, I want to DJ, or did he say, I need you to DJ? Or
I just took a chance. He was looking for someone to do it one night. He dropped me off, and that was it. It was... not exactly the greatest piece of equipment.
That's it.
One deck, microphone, but very quickly I got a hook for it, along with all of these things that I'd built up over the years. And there was not much more said about it until I went to Ballina. Went to Ballina and I saw some of the best DJs, and to this day were just streets and years ahead of any DJ I've ever seen. So you were looking at the quality guys like Ray Mack, Johnny Collins, Dermot Rice, fantastic guys. And I went to these nightclubs on a regular basis, and I built up a friendship with them because they knew me from going to the clubs. And then out of the blue, I got a lucky break. So one of the guys at that time was a guy called Ray Mack, and he went away on holidays. He didn't come back. I got friends with the guy he was working with, Johnny Collins, and I told him, of course, a little white lie, that I used to be a super DJ in Sligo. Not really telling the truth. I really did one gig with a record team.
It was technically lying.
So he says, great, come down to my house, and showed me these turntables and showed me how to work them.
Oh, right. So the techniques
So the techniques, I started doing the gigs, everything was going absolutely fantastic. And he said, listen, I think you're ready now for the big one, which was Billy Castle. 500 people, first night. And Ray hadn't come back from Spain. And of course, Johnny's wife was down at the bottom of the box, handing me up Ray's records. And I had memorized his set. And I said, send me up. Did the set, and the place was buzzing. And really, from that day, I never looked back.
Wow.
So Johnny said, you have something. I didn't even know what it was, but I had this bundle of energy. I could just interact. I just interacted with the audience, hands in the air, and I developed, working with Johnny for 18 months, maybe more. He brought me on to the night shift DJs, and I got my own disco bar. I got Leonard's disco bar. I got Billy Castle. I was so lucky. Plus, I was still chefing during the day.
Yeah.
But
was it as common back then, DJs, to do this talking and energy? Because some DJs just don't, and the records work. But did you have gone, I'm not happy, I can't enjoy this unless they do it?
I was. That's what made me stand out. I just instinctively knew, listen, you have to interact. And the more I interacted, the more I got that energy back, the more I knew I was onto something. And I never lost that. To this day, I never lost that.
Well, I've seen you at student gigs. I've seen you at weddings. When if the floor, as happens at a wedding or something, goes quiet, you nearly go, stop. I've seen you stop the music. All right, everyone, come on. Yeah. Get back out here. This is everyone's. You really know how to catch the attention and turn it, because no matter how good or bad you are, there's always a lull at certain points in the night. But you don't ever go, that's it, so I'll leave them now. No, I give up and I'll play the slow songs.
No, if you do, an audience will sense from you. If you give an audience a sense that you're not in control, you don't know what you're doing. It's like the comedian that goes on and in his head it's the funniest joke in the world, right? And when he says it, it's dead. It's a lonely feeling. And listen, I was gigging Friday night, just gone by, and I had the show scripted like I do. I put a lot of work into my shows. I script it. Looks off the cuff what I'm doing, but I genuinely script it. Yeah. And, they went that way. And you're looking at the audience, you're calculating their age groups, you're calculating mums and sons and daughters there, and 50, 60, all that. And you're saying, okay, what's that going to work, right? And you try and you blend it together. I'm not a mixer. I'll put my hands up to that. I'm a blender. And you start off, and you have to have courage and conviction in what you do, and you stick with it. And it's a process, and you have to believe in that process.
Do you still get nervous at any point?
Listen, of course. Listen, do I get nervous? I get apprehensive. So some people would call that being apprehensive or call it having an edge. I think if you lose that edge, if you lose that apprehensive, I think you get complacent.
When you're going into a wedding, it's you've done 40 or 50 in a year, for example. You go, here's another one. It's not. To them, it's their first day and their first
to me,
gig.
right. I've always had a policy. I treat every gig as if it's my last gig. So I leave it out there, no matter what it takes to rock that room, to rock that venue, no matter what it takes, at all costs. Yeah. I leave it out there.
And in all the years, did you ever go at any point, I'm sick of this, I'm going to do it different? Is there ever a time you doubted and gone, I might actually change career? Did you ever go, I want to do something different?
No, I have to say, no, never.
No, isn't it mad? Because it does take a lot of energy and a lot of pressure to keep entertaining. It
takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of commitment. I find now, right? See, the thing about me, where I've been very lucky, is that I've developed, I've grown all over the years. Right, I've never from the days of me doing DJing in disco bars. To the 21st and parties, which were brilliant, right? In a little green van, right? Yeah. From me doing my karaoke's, from my karaoke shows, which I learned to sing and sing a few songs. From them, talent shows to Sligo's Got Talent, other talent shows, to putting on lip sync battles, to MC and fashion shows. So I've always developed, right? Yeah. Even at the moment, as successful as the MC Jonah Mead show is, at the back of my mind, I'm saying, okay, right, where's the next move? Where do you go? Yeah. Well, what do you do next? So I'd always be thinking, what's the next move? Yeah, where am I going to go? Where can I take these skills? Yeah.
Well, if you can remember anyone quick offhand, and you don't have to give us the venue, or the night. What was the worst gig of your life?
Oh, the worst.
Or one of the worst. And again, we're not looking for people's names. Or does it? Maybe there wasn't one that was horrendous. There has to be one somewhere.
I wouldn't call it the worst gig. What I would say, right, during my days, right, of the Neptune, and anybody that remembers the Neptune, at the start of it, before we got it to kick off. Yeah. So it was quite an unusual venue. It was downstairs where the old Adelaide bar is. And there was a centre floor, and then the two other floors would dip. And the DJ box was in the middle. And it was a difficult, it was one of those venues that was designed, it was difficult. And I've often, at that stage, right, but I always had a policy, no matter what, if you're booked for the gig, you do the gig, you'd finish the gig. So we would go in, we say it could have been a Thursday night, there might only be 10 people in there, yeah? I would go in, I put the track on, I said, come on, right, yeah? It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Let's see it there. I'd probably go out and dance with them, yeah? I'd boogie the floor, back it in, do the full gig, finish it up and go home. Because in my mind, I would always say that if you didn't do it, you're admitting defeat. You're admitting that the gig, the whole lot got the better of you. But I always had that. I always thought to myself, if you didn't set those standards for yourself, do the gig. Doesn't matter who's here. You're booked to do the gig, do it, finish it, and go on to the next one. Put it aside and move on to the next one. I always had that mentality. And to this day, I still have it. Yeah. To this day, I still have it. Just keep going. Yeah.
And I mean, anyone that meets you, there's this joy, there's this energy in a room at a gig, out for a walk, a chat. Like, what would stress you out? Or is it things that stresses you out or makes you kind of bothered or, you seem to have a good mindset with regard to even when things like that, there's obviously multiple stresses in different parts of everyone's life.
Everybody, listen, anybody who tells you on this lovely planet of ours that I don't get stressed, of course, they're not telling you the truth. Everybody gets stressed. But it's not the stress, right? It's how you deal with it, yeah? So you can actually, you can decide to allow that stress to swamp you down. You can allow it to get on top of you. And from that stress, it'll affect all aspects of your life, your family, your personal, and your friendships. Or I think as you get older and a little bit wiser, I think you learn to turn the background noise off and go, you know what, listen, really, let's just look at what we have here, right? And we have so much to be grateful for. Yeah. You know, your family, your friends, you get to a stage in life where you go, God, that's a good feeling. You just get to that. I think it's contentment. And you get to a great stage, you go, and you don't take yourself so serious. And I think there's great joy in that, yeah. I think family ground you. I think surround yourself with some great friends. Challenge yourself. Like, I was very lucky to do Everest Base Camp. If there's anybody that's...
Was that a challenge for you?
It was a challenge because I wanted to do something for my 50th birthday. I would have struggled years ago, like a lot of people with, anxiety, depression, and I got to 50 and I wanted to see just kind of where I was. And it was a challenge, but we did it for a great cause. We did it to raise money for the hospice and for the Samaritans. I did it with my great friend, Sam McGarry. I wouldn't have done it without him. We had an amazing journey. Very humbling experience, but definitely something I look at again. I've done the Camino. I recommend anybody to do it. It's life-changing, so it is. You walk 15, 20, 30 kilometres every day over a period of time. Fantastic. Great joy.
Would you say that like getting out and movement and exercise and chatting?
Exercise. To do, if there's one advice I'd give to anybody, exercise. Eat well, exercise and sleep.
You do about 75 kilometres a day.
I would. I am always walking, If I'm not walking first thing in the morning, people who know me, right, instead of meeting for coffees now I meet you for walks. Jesus, Scruff ringing me again, right,
But you could do 3 walks in a day.
I could do 3 walks in a day.
And like, obviously, from some people that might remember from the college days, like you're a different man now. You're probably half the man.
Different, yeah. Listen, I made a massive decision. This June coming up, it'll be 20 years since I had a drink. And that
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years this June coming, and it was a game changer. Yeah.
And did you, so you were in the world of partying. So was it like that you were partying, having a good time drinking, or was drinking going, this has gone mad? Did you think it was a terrible problem you had, or did you go, I'm just partying too much?
At the time, you were caught up, like, listen, you think you're the Mick Jagger of Sligo. That's
the edit for this video. That's the promo.
You know what I mean? You think you're you're in town. You have access to money. At that stage, I was doing. I mean, between disco bars and nightclubs, I could have been doing 8, 9, 10 gigs a week. It was when I look back, right? Yeah. But you're like a machine. I was working in a fantastic student bar, Sir O'Connor's. Unbelievable memories. An amazing man, Sir O'Connor. An amazing man. And we had some fun there. The crack was good, but I was working there 4 or 5 nights a week, and then go down and doing Neptune, right? Living, and you're in that lifestyle.
And did this correlate with the time you said you had moments of anxiety and depression? Was that around that? Was it drinking fuel, or was it just other?
I mean, you're lack of sleep. You're not sleeping right. You're partying. You're drinking late nights. You're not eating properly. Yeah. There's no single exercise back then. You didn't know any of this, right? Yeah. So your body goes, at some stage, it just hits a wall, and my body hit a wall, and there were challenging times, and I got to the stage where I had to make a decision. Right, at that stage, I had 2 very young kids. I had Lorraine, who was 10, and Owen, who was 9, and I made a decision. Listen, I just decided. Funny enough, I went to a mate's birthday party, and I said to a friend of mine, "Listen, I'm done with this." And he looked at me, "What planet do you on?" I said, "No, I'm done." And we used to have a bit of fun and crack, betting and stuff. He said, "I'll bet you £500, he says, "you won't do 6 months." And whatever went off that day to this day, I just
you get 500 every 6 months you do?
So funny enough, right, I did the 6 months. We did the 6 months. I took the £500. We met up. I gave the money to the hospice. And every year since, we do meet up. And we meet up. We have a cup of coffee. I have a few quid. He's a few quid. We drop a few quid into the hospice. And it was that moment, that light bulb moment there was a game changer for me.
And who would you say was your biggest influence or help in your life, over your life?
I've had some great people in my life. Listen, Sarah Connor was one of them. In fairness, getting that break with Johnny Collins was brilliant.
Yeah. A lot of good people kept you going over the years.
Yeah, a lot of good people over the years. These were people who would have taken a break and taken, given you a break. Jerry Gurn in the Art Bar.
right,
These
the
are
Ark,
great people, right? Yeah.
Lots of legendary institutions here.
Like
Lots of memories.
these are really good people that they saw something in you.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I'd like to think that I repaid them back.
Yeah.
And with their confidence in me, once again, it allowed me to grow and develop.
Yeah.
Obviously into the person that I am today, right? Yeah. And obviously, right, the longer you're not drinking and stuff like that, then you develop fitness and a different mindset. And it's.
And I know your dad, you mentioned earlier on, from the chefing and all that. Like, I mean, did he go to your gigs?
My dad had the great pleasure of being to see me doing a wedding, singing with me on the karaoke.
So he ticked all the boxes.
He ticked, and I'm so grateful that he got to see the real best of me.
Okay.
So proud of him.
Sorry, obviously for anyone watching it, your father passed away.
My dad passed away a couple of years ago. Very, very close. Very. I mean, listen, anybody would have known us that I would have met Dad for 16 years, Monday to Thursday, for a cup of coffee, maybe from 4 to 5 for 16 years consecutively, right? Yeah. And we had great chats and great talks and stuff. Yeah, he was a huge part of it, and as I said, he got to see the best of me.
And a long-suffering Liverpool fan as well, isn't he?
And listen, me and him got to go see Liverpool win the European Cup in Istanbul.
Yes, the famous night, 3-0 down. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that year I was at that stage. I was 5 years off the drink, and I said I'll do something, and I just decided. And we flew up from Sandhill. We went to Istanbul. We went to the game, and it was my first. It was Dad's first time to see Liverpool play.
What?
First time.
Oh my God. What a first time,
Istanbul.
For anyone that doesn't know, they were 3-0 down, then they came back 3-0.
And he's sitting there and I'm going, Dad, I apologise. What are you apologising for? He said, because he was the eternal optimist. What are you apologising? She says, hey, Stevie G will come out now and we'll win. I said, Dad, it's AC Milan, we're done.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, next all you heard was singing, and beautiful sight, him beside me on a chair, and I just said that would have been 50.
Not only was the amazing moment, but then to have your dad there was lovely.
Listen, it's one of those memories I'll cherish for life. So so brilliant, absolutely beautiful. So it was,
very good. As I said, you were lucky at so many different people along the way that helped you along. So, what's next? Are you going to keep doing the weddings? What's the new show? Are you planning more things? I'm sure you're never going to let the grass.
Listen, the award's been brilliant. It's been fantastic. The response and the lovely comments I got from Facebook. To be honest, I'm absolutely blown away by it. I'm blown away by people's kindness, by people taking time out to leave a comment. It's just, to be honest, slightly overwhelmed a wee bit.
Well, I'm sure, but I mean, as I said, as someone said once, everyone has a bag of magic dust on this planet, and you've definitely sprinkled it across many, many people. There's memories from, as I said, even like the old days when I didn't even know you, but back to the stables, all the student bars, right through to now to weddings. So as I said, it was definitely deserved. I'm not just saying that because you're here. I've said this to other people about booking you and all that. So like, I mean, it was wholly deserved. It was a true win for that kind of an award.
What? It was a lovely feeling because I got to come home on Wednesday. The missus had the lovely sponge cake. She knows I like a sponge cake. And a couple of congratulations.
That's a hint for anyone watching. Right, if you ever meet him, bring him a sponge cake.
And Connor was there. My young lad, Connor, 16. He's a great kid, and he was there. And I left him half a cake. I ate the other half.
Well, we know each other. You're not a good man for leaving bits of sweet things around.
And my good friend PJ was with me. We had amazing fun. And funny enough, PJ went home then to Ballina, and the missus said to me, well, what's the story? And so I got the trophy, delighted with it, put it up on top of the mantelpiece. And she said, well, what do you do now? I said, Bill's got to be paid on Friday, but back up into the office, pick up the phone and back at it, Okay. Because I said, there's no point in me arriving at the gig on Friday. I said, you've got a lovely ward on the mantelpiece and the floor is empty.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So I said, you got to go back to business,
So if I made you the boss of, well, let's say the boss of the Sligo County Council. This is no reflection on whoever is the boss. I'm just saying, if you're the boss of the town, what would you change?
I love Sligo. I think it's quite unique what we have here, right? So
it's not even a negative thing necessarily. It's like going, what would you love to see more of? Or,
we have so much here. We've the beaches, the mountains, the hills, so much going on, beautiful restaurants, lovely bars. I'd love to see Sligo being promoted more, right? I think we sometimes undersell ourselves. If I was the boss of Sligo, I'd love to see more events, more cultural events, right? More outdoor events, more now. Obviously, as I got older, more family orientated.
Yeah.
I think
So I give you €10 million. What do you spend on tomorrow in Sligo?
10 million in Sligo.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing would be I'd love to see a really good live venue.
Okay. Like a TF Royal, a big 2 or 3 thousand.
Live venue, right? Yeah, with proper structure, with hotels.
Would you be just doing all the gigs in it then?
I would. I would make sure that I MC all of them. I would love to see that. But you know what? Listen, I think money can't buy what we have in Sligo. I think it's quite unique. I mean, what we have on our doorstep. And I know people talk about, Kerry and Waterford and Cork and Galway and all these places, and of course, rightly so, around Donegal. But I think what we have here is quite unique, right? Yeah. I mean, you're a Galway man, right? Right, and you've come to this town on numerous occasions. You've said to me on many a walk, you said, "You know what? Look at that. Where would you get that?" And I honestly, it's funny. I took the kids away, went to Disneyland there last week, and Connor said to me at 16, and Dad, this is great, but like that, really, you have to go away sometimes, Dad, to appreciate what we have at home. And that is so true.
Yeah, but it is a great town, great county. Yeah. It's a great people, and I've even found the last 10 years it's just even a bigger movement of the right people in the right place really driving it on.
But look at all the stuff that's happening at the moment. You've got the bid, you've got the centre town now being redeveloped. You've got great people that are in the right positions now that are going to be at the forefront of really pushing Sligo to the next level. The money that's been spent in developing the town centre at the moment is second to none. I'd really like to see our politicians being a little bit more proactive in selling us a little bit out there, right? Yeah, a little bit more of that, right? I'd love to see a couple more multinationals come into the town, which would be great for us, yeah. Okay.
Will you be running in the local elections coming up in June?
I'm going to wait and make that announcement.
We wanted an exclusive.
I'm waiting for you to make that announcement.
No way, not at all. So if you stop DJing tomorrow, is there anything you've never done that you'd love to do?
Do you know what I'd love to do if I had the time to do it and develop it? I suppose over the years between fitness and walking and podcasts and learning about a lot of stuff, right? I'd love to do something that would help teenagers. I don't know, like a life coach or... Yeah. I'd love to put a life coach a show on where you with the potential to maybe, bring people to a room and with fun, interactive and energy and some really good, solid, simple information that people could go away and say, you know what, that's...
Yeah, tangible, simple steps to help them, I can do that.
I think we've young people today, and I think all of us would agree that I think phones they're just destroying their creativity. They're kind of isolating them, so they are, and.
But again, it's not just in Sligo. I mean, there is a bit of a void there for that age group for stuff to do and be involved. I know there's certain elements, but maybe not enough.
I've a young lad at 16 now, and so I know there's a void there, 14 to 17 in there, life skills and just stuff to show them that there's a wonderful world outside the internet.
Yeah,
and simple things, things that we take for granted, like social skills. Yeah. These, if we don't mind them in our young people today, right, they will evaporate. Like, I'll give an example, and anybody that's in entertainment at the moment, you go into a room at the moment, right, and our greatest victim at the moment is people sitting around a phone who come to an event and sit around with their friends, and the first thing they'll pick out is their phone.
Yeah.
Now, you would say, who they're talking to? The funny thing is, they're talking to the person across from them. They're texting the person across them to tell them that I'm here. And this is crazy. Yeah. You're in the room.
But it kills the room. It kills gigs in general.
If you allow it. Right, I don't allow it. Right, of course, I'd be very nice how I do it, but I don't allow it. I said, "Come on, are you serious? You come out with your friends, you take your phone and put it away. Allow yourself, in this moment with your friends to have some fun. Let you hear that." There's nearly like a fear of young people today afraid to let themselves go, and we live in this social media. Expecting to be what they're expected to be. I don't even know what they're expected to be.
Yeah.
And we're living in this world, and I think people are missing out on so much. Now, we're all guilty of the phones. We all get stuck in it. But our young people, right, if we don't mind them, if we don't direct them, if we don't give them something else.
Give them opportunities.
Directions to do it, right. If we don't take control of it. Because if you're waiting on IT companies and waiting on other people and laws from our governments, believe you me, we'll be waiting a long time.
Yeah. And in fairness, to go back to Sligo, we are lucky to so many great musical groups, theatre groups, it's a great scene for that. And then our natural beauty. And that. So, I mean, there is certain opportunities, but again, I think there's just that little niche. It'd be great to just keep expanding that for that age group.
Oh, so, I think this would be huge. Listen, you know what? And then at this stage in my life, I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah. So how many more years is the DJ career going to go?
Well, I've said this before, right? I will certainly be the Tommy Cooper of the wedding business.
Just die on the stage.
Oh, I'll just die on stage.
Why not? One way to go.
Just like that.
No better bad.
Yeah, listen, I love it. Listen, I've often chatted to you, right? I don't know, listen, would I open up a coffee shop and you come in and we'd have fun and maybe do something
I don't
like
think you'd sell much in it though, you'd be talking to everyone too much.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I do know that I'd be involved with something where there's fun, interaction and energy. It's just, it's the most natural thing to me.
Yeah.
I wake up every day, right? And I mean, I can't get enough of it. Through my friends, through in the gym.
But that is it. Like it's the fun or energy you bring to a walk, as you said, to the gym group, or if you see you at a gig at a wedding, you go, this is okay, it's work to you, but like you can see, you go, you're fighting all the time to go. I want to make sure this is really good for everyone here. So it's not like I'll get through it and get it over with.
I take great pride in, you know, listen, you've sat down with a couple, they don't know you from Adam, you've sold them the package, you've told them, listen, trust me, believe in me, right, believe in the process, and I can guarantee you, I'll give you memories that you'll have, not just you, but your family and friends will have for the rest of life. Like, I get great joy in a wedding where a lady in her 80s and 90s comes up to you afterwards and says, I don't know where they got you from, son, but that's the best fun I've ever had. Yeah. And if you can, imagine an MC or a DJ and relate to a lady in a room of that age and that caliber that says to you, to me, right, there's no greater compliment. You can win as many awards as you want.
But you probably have, as you've told me before, like there's sometimes a night you go, that person's not really buying this yet. And that's the greatest win when you're at the end.
That is the greatest win.
They come up.
And when they come up, right, like as I said, I did a GA dinner downstairs last week, and this lovely man come up in the middle of it. He said, I just come up to tell you, and this man's probably in the 70s. He said, listen, I've been at a lot of dinner dances. I've never seen anything like that. And he says, anybody left this room tonight? He says, well, they'd want to get their head tested. He says,
if they didn't enjoy it.
Myself and the wife absolutely loved it. And I just, for me, if you can relate to that man there in his 70s plus, I think you're doing your job.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think there's many more memories to be created and many more great gigs coming up. It's, as I said, we've known each other for a good few years, but I've been learning stuff there tonight as well. But it's been a pleasure to have you on. Congratulations on the award. It is so well deserved. I give out to you. Should have brought in the award and shown it off. Yeah. But look, if people can find you, I think everyone knows where to find you now. DJ Scruffy Duffy online and social media and all that. But look at all the best in the future. And sure, look, we'll have you on maybe next year when you win the second award.
Listen, I'm so grateful to be here. Right, thank you so much for having me on. And I mean, I actually can't believe I'm on Sligo TV. You know, I can't believe it.
Look, we'll do the autograph. I know you want an autograph. We'll do that afterwards. Yeah?
What's the chance of getting me on BBC now on ITV?
Well, if I get the move, it's okay. Brian's coming with me as well. It's all right. We'll take the crew with us. Well, again, thanks to Martin, DJ Scruffy Duffy, of course, to everyone else out there. Thanks to Brian behind the cameras doing all the work. We will see you all again next time.
The Sligo Show is produced by Pixel Productions and hosted by Brendan Tierney. If you need video for your business or live event or would like to appear on the show, send us a message today.
So if you liked what you just seen, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel here. We've loads of great interviews from a load of really interesting people over the series. And if you're on social media, which I'm sure loads of you are, we are on Instagram and Facebook, so give us a follow there.